I'm Cath. Welcome to my channel Made by Cath Craft, or welcome back if you're a regular viewer. Thanks so much for joining me for another episode of my midweek sewing chat series. And it's really nice to be back on after a couple of weeks break because I really enjoyed doing this series. And if you're new to my channel or this series, this is quite a chatty video that I tend to pop on midweek. And in these videos, I talk about things like what I'm wearing from my handmade wardrobe. I talk about any sewing projects I've got on the go and how I'm getting on with those and any decisions I need to make on that front. I also share any new patterns or fabrics I've had arrive and what my plans are for those. And sometimes I share a little bit of knitting progress too. So today I've got an update on my latest knitting project I wanted to share as well. And then just a little bit of general chat. But like I said, I really enjoy these chatty informal style videos. I have had a couple of weeks break and if you watch my channel regularly, you'll know I've had a break because it was the Easter holidays here in the UK. So my children have been off school for 2 weeks. They went back yesterday, which was Monday. Today's Tuesday. But it's really nice actually. We had a lovely Easter holiday. The weather was really good. It wasn't really warm, but the sun did shine. We didn't have, I think, any rainy days, which was nice. And we went away for a week to Wales, which was lovely. That was the second week of the holidays. We had a really nice time, spent lots of time in the pool, lots of time outdoors. It was quite full on, as ever with holidays with children. There wasn't much time to stop still, but it was a really nice break. And then it was good actually that I didn't film any vlogs, or I didn't plan to film any vlogs over the Easter holidays. Well, I knew I was going to be away in the second week. And actually in the first week of the holidays, I lost my voice. I got laryngitis, which I've never had before. But I just had, just towards the end of term, I had a bit of a sore throat and a headache and just generally wasn't feeling myself. And then my voice went croaky and it just gradually disappeared to the point where it was really hard for me to talk. So it was a bit of a shame it happened in the holidays actually. We had to cancel a couple of plans just because I needed to stay home and rest my voice to try and get it better again. But as you can hear now, it's come back, thankfully, so I'm feeling a lot better. I didn't actually feel that ill with it. It was just really frustrating not to be able to talk, but things are back to normal now. So yeah, the children were back in school yesterday, and yesterday I went to have my hair cut and coloured, which was really nice because I was due to have it done a few weeks ago, but my hairdresser got COVID and then her little boy was ill, so it got postponed. So that was quite nice to do yesterday, and then today I thought, hooray, I can sit down and finally film another video and chat to you guys about what I've been up to on the sewing front. So that brings me up to date on my last couple of weeks, and then I'll start this video as usual with what I'm wearing today. So today is another really lovely sunny day out there. There is a bit of a chill to the air, but I thought I'd wear one of my favourite spring dresses, and it's a shirt dress which I made using this pattern. I've got it here. One of my favourite shirt dress patterns, which is the Darling Ranges dress pattern by Megan Nielsen. And I've had this pattern quite a while and I've made two versions, both in chambray fabric. So this is the first version I made, so it must be at least a couple of years old now. It's a really pretty chambray, it's an art gallery chambray fabric. It's got this pretty sort of deep blue colour and then it's got pastel coloured flowers on in a sort of mints and whites and sort of a blush pink colour. And I got this fabric from Minerva. I think it might still be in stock because I know with Art Gallery, they often do keep running their prints for quite a long time. So if I can find this fabric, I will link it down below. It's a really lovely chambray, quite nice and substantial, so perfect for a shirt dress. It holds a bit of the structure really well. It's really nice to sew with. And I had a bit of fun with mine. I added on these little floral buttons. I'll stand up so you can see. And they kind of match the blush pink flowers on the dress. So I enjoyed adding those little buttons. And the dress has got the waist ties on the back of the dress. I don't think you can see. Oh yeah, here we are on the line drawing. It's got a little, oh, you can't really see very well on the camera. There's a little waist tie on the back. I'll turn around so you can see. That's quite nice because it cinches it in. Yeah, so it's a really nice shirt dress pattern. I should have actually shown you the pattern first, probably. It's a shirt dress pattern. I've made this version with a gathered skirt, and it's got a V-neck and a button down front. And it's got these sleeves that finish just above the elbow with an elasticated cuff. There's also a sort of fairly straight fit shirt you can make that I haven't made, or more of a sort of, I don't know what you call this, maybe like a shift dress version 2, which is a bit more of a straight fit, and I haven't made that one either. I really like this version here, the kind of classic shirt dress. I've got the old style pattern, which has the Megan Nielsen old size range, going from extra small to extra large. But these days, this pattern comes in a 0 to 20 size range. and a 14 to 30 size range, which is their curve range. So yeah, it's got a really good size range on this pattern, and it just sews up really nicely. I actually went, before I made my first version, because I was making it with this Art Gallery chambray, which is quite a pricey chambray, I wanted to make sure I got the fit right before I started cutting into this fabric. So I did make a little toile of the bodice, just with using some old fabric to kind of try out the fit, and I had to make a couple of adjustments actually on this pattern. I had to do a broad shoulder adjustment because I found it was kind of tugging and pulling across here. And it's not an adjustment I often have to make, but I'm glad I did have a play with this pattern, and I did make that adjustment, and it fits quite nicely now. I think I might have lengthened the bodice slightly on it, but not a great deal as well. But yeah, it came together really nicely, but I was glad to have done that toile, and I went for the, yeah, above the elbow elasticated cuff sleeves, and I find that's quite a comfy length, and the sleeves are quite snug, so I find they fit quite well under a cardigan, so I may well put on a cardigan a bit later if it gets a bit chillier. But yeah, it's a really nice pattern. The size I went for was extra small on the old pattern. I think that might be maybe like the size 2 or the size 4 on the new style pattern, which is designed for bust 34 inches, waist 26 inches and hips 36 inches. And I am 32, 26, 36, so it pretty much fits me bang on the waist and the hips. The bust is slightly large on this version, just because that was the smallest size available when I got this pattern. But I find that's fine actually. I find there's it's a good shape. It doesn't feel too roomy on the bust. I think it's designed to be a fairly close fit, so that's why I'm wearing today. It's one I really enjoy wearing. I'll put up a picture so you can see what it looks like on. Yeah, the Art Gallery chambray is really lovely and soft, and it's washed really well. I've washed it quite a few times and worn it quite a few times. It doesn't feel like the colours faded at all, which is really great. So that's what I'm wearing today. So in terms of what I've been up to on the sewing front for the last couple of weeks while I've been off from doing these midweek sewing chats, well, I haven't got as much sewing done as I would usually do because the children have been off on holiday and we were away, and generally it is quite busy, so I haven't had much of a time to kind of clear the dining table off and actually get sewing. I did manage to finish a couple of projects just before the holidays and before my children finish school, and I'll be sharing those hopefully in my April Sewing Makes video, which I'll be releasing this Saturday, all being well. But actually in the holidays itself, I did manage to start one little project, which I thought I'd share with you now. And it was just a little one that my son requested, and it was to make him a pair of shorts in this fabric here. It's a cotton jersey fabric. And this fabric might be familiar to you if you've watched my channel before. My son is very enthusiastic about it, so I've bought a bit of it recently and made various garments for him in this. It's a really cool cotton jersey with a Where's Wally space print on, so it's got lots of sort of spaceships and meteorites and things. There's also Where's Wally characters to find too, so it's really fun fabric. This came from Minerva, and they've got a few different cotton jersey Where's Wally prints. I'll link this one down below. I just saw it a while ago coming up, and I thought, oh, it's really nice to find a print I knew my son would like, because I find there's a lot of prints my daughter loves, unicorns and kittens and that sort of things right up her street, but it's hard to find things my son likes. So yeah, he really loves this print. And I previously made him a pyjama set, a top and bottom in this print, and also a t-shirt. And then he said to me a couple of weeks ago, would it be possible for me to also make him a pair of shorts he could wear in the day as well? So these are they. And they came together really quickly, and he's really pleased with them, so I'm glad, because it's nice to be able to make him something fun. I'm conscious he's 8 now, maybe in a couple of years he might not want these kind of fun prints, so we've got to enjoy it while it lasts. So yeah, these are what I made for him, and I made these using a free pattern, and the pattern I used is the Walk Up the Plank Pyjama Bottoms pattern by Patterns for Pirates. So it is a pyjama bottoms pattern, but I don't think it matters because it's basically just an elasticated waist shorts pattern. It's actually also designed for woven fabrics, but I find it comes together really nicely in a cotton jersey fabric too. I've always made them in cotton jersey fabric for the kids actually, these pyjama bottoms. So the pattern is available to download for free on the Pattern for Pirates website. I'll link it down below. There's also a unisex adult Walk the Plank pyjama bottoms pattern. I felt like a bit of a mouthful. That's also available to download for free. So yeah, it's a really great pattern. I've made the adult version for myself, and that came together really well. It's quite a cool pattern for the adults. There are quite a lot of different sizes and options built in. So there are 2 waist heights, one that's designed for females and one that's designed for males. And there are quite a few different lengths on them as well, like a kind of sort of shorty pyjama shorts, or sort of knee length or a longer length. And it comes together really nicely, this pattern. It's a really quick sew, and what makes it extra quick is there's no sort of side seam, so you basically cut out 2 leg piece pattern pieces, yeah, one on each sort of side mirror image, and then it sews together really nicely, and all you need to do is add the elastic in the top after that. It's a really quick sew, And my son really finds it really comfortable. I think they'll be really nice for a pair of shorts for him for summer because the cotton jersey is nice and lightweight. The only thing I would mention on the children's pattern is my personal experience is it comes up a little bit on the large side. I originally made my son his first pair in the age 8 size, which is his age, but there was a lot of excess fabric around his legs. It was a bit too bulky, so we sized down. And this is the age 6 size now, and it fits him a lot better. And also the length even fits him a lot better. We found the size age 8 ones did come down really quite long. So he's really pleased with those. It was a nice quick little project that I wanted to get done because I knew he'd be asking me about it. So they're ready for when we get some warmer weather. And I mentioned I'll link this fabric down below. It's a really nice cotton jersey. There's a couple of other colourways and other sort of different Where's Wally scenes available too, so yeah, it's really fun. So those shorts for my son are the only sewing project I ended up completing in the Easter holidays, just because we've been quite busy and I haven't had as much time to sew. And also to be able to sew here I have to clear the dining table and get my sewing machine out, so there's a bit of setup required. So sewing's been a bit on the back burner, but I have done a bit of knitting over the Easter holidays because I do like to have something crafty to keep me going. And I find knitting's a lot easier to pick up and put down, so I often just keep my latest knitting project on the sideboard, and then I'll pick it up in the evening and do a few rows here and there. And also I really like taking a knitting project when I go on holiday. It doesn't really take up much room in the car, which is always handy because our car is always totally full. All I need is a couple of balls of wool and my knitting needles. So yeah, I took that on holiday, and I like to have something to do in the evenings on holiday as well when I'm watching a film or something to keep me busy. Yeah, not great just sitting still without something to do. So I've been working on my latest knitting project, so I thought I'd show you how I'm getting on that. And I'm really enjoying knitting with the wool I'm using for my latest project actually, and it's this wool here. It is a wool by We Are Knitters, and it is their Merry wool, which I've knitted with before and I've really enjoyed knitting with it. I've made 2 Hackney cardigans in this wool. It's a lovely squishy merino wool. I think they describe it as Aran weight, but it's quite a chunky Aran weight. And it's just really lovely and soft. I find merino wool is really nice on my skin. So I've made 2 cardigans, like I mentioned, with this wool before. Made one in a sort of royal blue colour and one in a mustard colour. But I've always really admired this really beautiful flecked colourway of the wool. And this is called Sprinkle Fantasy, I think. So it's really pretty. It's kind of a creamy sort of off-white colour as the main colour. And it's got little flecks of all different colours in it, sort of yellows and oranges and pinks. I think I might have shown this one a few weeks ago. It's just so lovely, and they had a deal on a few weeks ago on We Are Knitters. They often have good deals on, so it's worth looking out for them. And I just saw this and I thought, oh, I've been wanting it for ages. I'm just going to get some and turn it into some sort of cardigan that I can really enjoy wearing. A bit of more of a statement cardigan, I guess, because the other 2 I made, the Hackney cardigan and the navy and the mustard, are more cardigans I wore that would go with a lot of things in my wardrobe and sort of tone in. But I think this one will be a bit more of a statement that's kind of a star of the show itself type cardigan. That's what I'm hoping anyway, because the wool is so pretty. So I've been knitting away with this. I wasn't sure what to make at first, but I thought a cardigan would be the most useful thing. And I thought what I'd do is I wanted to make quite a simple cardigan just to show off the wool. So I decided to make a cardigan in stocking stitch. So I'll just show you a bit of how I'm getting on with it. And this is the sleeve. So I'm onto the sleeves. I've knitted the 2 fronts and the back, but I'm not sure on the length yet. I'm going to knit the sleeves and then sort of pin it all together and see how it looks, and then maybe adjust it a little bit before I start sewing it together. But here is one of the sleeves. You can see how pretty this wool is with all the flecks in it. It's really lovely, and it's lovely to knit with too. It's really nice wool. So this is my sleeve here. It's got the ribbing at the bottom, and then I think I've nearly finished it actually. I've just got a few rows to go because I'm making a sort of dropped shoulder cardigan, and I'm loosely basing it on the Hackney cardigan pattern that I've mentioned before by We Are Knitters. I'll put a picture up so you can see what that looks like. And that's designed to be knitted in a moss stitch, but like I mentioned, I wanted to keep it really simple for this wool, so I've gone for a straightforward stocking stitch, and I've just made a few tweaks to the pattern. I've just changed the sort of rib size of the rib a little bit, and a few other adjustments to sort of sizing and shape. And I'm just kind of going through knitting, and I'm going to see how it turns out. So yeah, fingers crossed it'll come out okay. Like I said, this is the second sleeve, so I'm nearly there to the point where I can actually start pinning it together and seeing how it fits and if there's any changes I want to make. I did have to unpick one of the fronts. I ended up knitting one front tighter than the other one, which is a bit disappointing. And the wool does unpick okay as well, so that's always good. So yeah, that's where I am with it. But yeah, I think it's really pretty, and I'm really enjoying knitting away. And I do find sometimes knitting stocking stitch is so nice because it's just so relaxing, going back and forth with the knits and then the purls. I don't have to think about it too much. So that's my current knitting project. So I'll update you with how I'm getting on with that one. It's not exactly seasonal because it's really cosy wool, but I don't think that matters. I'm not sure I'd get much use out of summer knitting garments myself anyway, so I'm just going to carry on knitting this and make sure it's ready for when the weather does get cooler in the autumn, or if we have any cold spells in the summer, I'll be able to enjoy wearing it too. So that's what I'm up to on the knitting front. So my knitting plans going forward are pretty much to carry on going with that cardigan, and I think once I've knitted up that final sleeve, it'll be really interesting to kind of pin it all together and see how it fits and maybe make some tweaks, but I'm really looking forward to carrying on working on that one. But I've also got a couple of new sewing plans now the children are back at school and I've got a bit more time to think about sewing. And the first thing I would like to sew, and I've got the fabric here to share too, is a pattern from this magazine here, which is the Fibre Mood magazine 16. And if you've watched my videos before, you'll know I got this magazine earlier this year and it was my first Fibre Mood magazine, so I was quite excited to try it and see how I got on. And I really like the look of Fibre Mood magazine 16. There are a couple of patterns in there that really jumped out at me that I wanted to make. So the first pattern I made from this magazine was the Irma body warmer, and I'll get that so you can see what that looks like. Here it is. So this is the first pattern I made earlier this year, this Irma body warmer. So quite a simple sort of straight fit body warmer with this tie around the waist. And the pattern's designed to be made, well, you can make it in any fabric, but I love this quilted fabric that they'd used for this promotional shot. And you have bias binding around the edge to finish it and these big patch pockets. And I thought it was a really cool look to it. And I decided to make my version using Merchant & Mill's cotton jacquard, which isn't actually quilted, but it looks a lot like a quilted fabric. I made mine in a blue colour. But instead of doing the bias binding around the edge, I decided to line mine. I lined it with a sort of fleecy or flannel fabric, so it's really nice and cosy. I haven't got it out much yet, but I think now it's getting to the perfect weather to be able to wear it, which is quite exciting. But I really enjoyed sewing it up. It was really nice to try my first Fibre Mood pattern. I'll put a picture up of my body warmer so you can see how it looks. I lengthened mine slightly from the pattern, and it was interesting actually to try out a Fibre Mood pattern. I found the instructions in the magazine are a little bit limited in terms of how much information they give, but someone tipped me off to the fact that if you go on the Fibre Mood website, you can access more detailed instructions, which are really good, so that's definitely worth doing. The other thing I learned was that in the magazine you get all the patterns here to trace out, so they're all kind of layered on top of each other, so you have to kind of be careful which ones you choose. But once you've traced them out, you have to add seam allowances. I think if you buy the PDF pattern, seam allowances might be included, but not for the paper pattern that comes with the magazine. So I thought I'd mention that. It's always worth knowing if you don't have seam allowances included, because I think with most patterns they're included, so sometimes you just don't think about it. But it came together really nicely. I really enjoyed sewing my body warmer, and I was really looking forward to trying another pattern from the magazine. So the pattern I'm going to try next is actually the original pattern that really grabs my attention when this Fibre Mood 16 magazine came out. It was the one I thought I really would like to sew. And then I saw the Irma as well and thought, oh, that one looks really good too. So the pattern I'd like to try next is this one here. Everything's just fallen out. It is the ermine blouse. So it's a really pretty sort of, really pretty blouse, some lovely details, including this sort of V that's got gathering on it, and it's got a button down front and then a little bit more gathering and a yoke on the back. So it looks really pretty, I think. You can see here some of the details close up. I just thought it was a bit different and it'd be a fun one to sew. So yeah, I've been looking forward to getting this one sewn up. I put it on my Make 9 this year actually, because it's one I really wanted to sew. So that's 9 patterns that I would like to try sewing this year. But I've been on the lookout for fabric and I hadn't found anything that I really liked. And then I saw some fabric on the Minerva website, and I've actually been gifted it in exchange for a blog post, which was really exciting to be able to write a blog post on the ermine blouse and how I get on with this fabric. And here is the fabric I've been gifted. It's this really pretty viscose fabric with this floral design on. It's a really lovely, nice, lightweight, drapey viscose fabric. It's got this sort of dark red background. I think the colourway was called Sangria, and it's got these little flowers with blue centres to them. So I thought it was really pretty. And I thought it would work really well for the blouse, and that the pattern is kind of quite sort of small, and it would show off the features still on it. The features wouldn't get lost with this pattern, I'm hoping. Like the kind of nice V-neck with the gathering. So you've got this fabric washed, and now I need to get on with tracing my pattern, adding the seam allowances, and then just getting sewing. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. I'll link this fabric down below. It's available in a couple of other colourways too. I think there's a really pretty blue colourway, possibly a green too. So yeah, it's really nice, lovely and soft, and I think it'll be great for making the ermine blouse. So I'm really looking forward to giving that pattern a go. So in terms of how the Fibre Mood magazines work, at the beginning of the magazine at the front, you get all the pretty pictures for inspiration, the sort of promotional shots, And at the back you get all the information on the different patterns. So I've got the ermine page here. You can see it gives it a rating of 3 out of 5 in terms of difficulty. Then it's got measurements. You can measure yourself and compare them to find what size you should be. It's got finished garment measurements down here, and then some details about how much fabric you need at the bottom, and then it goes on to have all the details about how to construct the blouse. And in terms of sizing of this one, it goes from an extra small, and the smallest size that falls within the extra small category is for a bust of 30 inches and hips of 34 inches. And they don't give the waist measurements, I guess because it's quite a boxy shape, so the bust and hips are probably the more important measurements for fitting. Then it goes up to a triple XL, and the largest size in that category is for a bust of 58 inches and hips of 58 inches. And the sizes in here are all given in centimetres, so I had to get my calculator out and change them into inches, because I don't find the centimetres mean too much to me in terms of bust measurements and that sort of thing. But they kind of group the sizes, so the size 4 to 6 both fall within the extra small size, that you can trace the extra small. And I had a look, and my measurements fit pretty much with a size 6, so I'm going to trace the extra small. And when I had a look at the finished garment measurements, and again converted them to inches, it looked like there was plenty of room there, so I think that'll be a fine size for me. So I'm going to go ahead and trace that size, add the seam allowance, and see how I get on with this one. But I'm really excited to give another fibre move pattern a try, and hopefully it'll be another positive experience like the Irma body warmer was. So I'm really looking forward to giving the ermine blouse a go. It looks like a really pretty pattern, and it'll be nice to try another fibre mood pattern. So that's that one. But I've also got one other new pattern, a new fabric to share with you. And this one's a little bit different actually, because it's not a pattern for a garment. I decided to have a go at making my first bag, or sewing my first bag. And the reason why I decided to have a go at making a bag was because I was having a leaf through this book here, which is Breaking the Pattern by Named Clothing. And if you've watched some of my previous videos, you'll know I've had this book for ages, I think at least a couple of years. And I never had sewn anything from it until this year. But I really wanted to. I spent a lot of time looking through and admiring the pictures. So I thought, right, this year I'm going to actually get something sewn up. So I put on my Make 9 to make one item from this book, which is the Sarast shirt dress, which is this pattern here. It's a really pretty shirt dress pattern for woven fabrics with some nice details. It's got a button down front, and it's got these sort of flat fronted sections here at the front with princess seams on the bodice. And then there's a gathered skirt, but the gathering just starts from behind the flat fronted section and goes around the back. So I thought that was quite an interesting detail. And it's also got this little ruffle on the collar, which I thought was cute. So yeah, I've just finished sewing up that dress just before the Easter holidays. And it was a really enjoyable sew actually. And I'm going to be talking all about that one in my April Sewing Makes video on Saturday. I've already posted a couple of pictures of it on Instagram, but I'll be going through all the details of sizing and adjustments and how I found it in my video on Saturday, talking about my April Sewing Makes. But I really enjoyed sewing that pattern. Excuse me. I found it a really interesting construction. It definitely inspired me to have another look through this book and see if I might like to make another pattern from it. And the pattern I came across was actually the first pattern in the book, I think, which is their bag pattern. It's like a basic tote bag pattern called the Nummy bag. And I'll show you the line drawings, how it looked. And I was having a look at it and thought that would actually be quite a fun thing to make, because I haven't tried making a bag before, so I think I'll be learning a new skill. But also I thought it'd be something quite practical that I'd be able to enjoy using as well as sewing. So that was my plan. Then I had a little read of reviews online about the Nummy bag pattern, and I decided against that pattern just basically because it's a really simple tote bag. It doesn't have any pockets or anything like that. And I thought maybe I should go with something with a few different details on so I can learn a few new skills for the process. And also a couple of people have written about how the seams inside, due to the sort of construction process, end up quite bulky and quite hard to get through the sewing machine. So I thought I'd look around for another pattern, and I came across a pattern company called Noodlehead, and they basically specialise in bag patterns, and they had lots of good reviews about how easy to follow their patterns are. And I decided to try one of their patterns. So I've got this pattern here. Where's the front page so I can show you it, which is, so this is the pattern here. It is the Pepin tote bag by Noodlehead. And as you can see, it's quite a sort of simple shaped tote bag, a bit like the Nummy bag, but it has a few extras you can add on that I thought it might be quite fun to try. It's fully lined. You can add on a pocket. I think you can add on inside pockets too. There's also a zip option, like a recessed zipper inside you can add on too. So I thought if I'm feeling brave, I might give a few of those options a go and just see how I get on trying it out. And it's described as a simple tote, perfect for beginners and experienced alike. So I thought it'd be a good one to start with. So I'm quite excited about giving this a go. I've got the fabric, and I've also ordered a load of the sort of bag making sort of bits and bobs you need, but I haven't got those yet. So I could just show you the fabric today, and then hopefully next week all the other bits will have arrived so I can share them too. So you need, it recommends for the fabric, canvas or waxed canvas for the exterior and quilting cotton for the lining. And I've just got my outside exterior fabric to show you. And I couldn't resist getting a bit of Rifle Paper Company canvas fabric. So this is the one I chose. It's a really pretty design, actually matches my dress quite well today. It's a really pretty floral design. I thought it would make a really nice bag. It's got all these flowers on this navy base, and I think it's a canvas and linen mixed fabric. It feels quite nice and sturdy, and it said on the fabric it will be perfect for making things including bags, so I thought I'll give that a go. And I got this from Lamazi Fabrics. They had a special offer on Rifle Paper Co fabrics just when I was starting to look at options for my Pepin tote bag, so I thought it was meant to be, so I snapped this up. I think I've got a metre of it. You need just under a metre of fabric for the main bag. The only thing is though, when I printed out the instructions, the pattern, it does say, because of the tote's exterior construction method, one-way directional prints are not recommended for the exterior fabric. And I do have a one-way directional print. Oh, you can see that's the wrong way up there. As you can see, all the flowers are pointing in the one way. So I think I might have to do something about that. I think it's the way the bag might be cut in one piece and wrapped round the side. So one side will be the right way up and one side be the wrong way up. So I think I'll need to do something maybe with cutting in two pieces and adding a seam on the bottom or something. I'm hoping I can figure that out. I didn't realise that until after I bought the fabric, but I do love this fabric, so I'm really looking forward to giving it a go. So I need to have a proper read through these instructions and figure out what I'm doing, but hopefully I'll start that in the next few weeks. I thought it'd be a really nice one to have actually for the summer, to take maybe to the beach or something and hold all my stuff in. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to giving it a try, and they have some really nice bag patterns. I'll link the Noodlehead website down below. There's loads of different bag patterns, and I thought if I enjoyed sewing up this fairly simple tote bag, then maybe I could try sewing a more tricky, complicated one next. We shall see. But that is another one of my plans, and I just think this fabric's really nice. And I've never bought a Rifle Paper Co sort of canvas style fabric before. I know they did them, so it's a nice opportunity to see how they sew with it. It feels like it'll be nice and stable to sew with. So yeah, that is my other plan. So those are my new patterns and fabrics, and I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into those sewing projects. And then I thought while I was on, I'd also mention a challenge that's coming up in May, which you're probably familiar with. It's quite a big one, and that is Me Made May. I thought I'd mention what it is in case you aren't familiar with it. It's run on Instagram by a lady called Zoe, and her Instagram handle is SoSoBlog. I'll link her down below. But it's quite a personal challenge. Basically, you kind of make a pledge in the month of May, and it has to be something to do with a handmade wardrobe. So it can be sort of looking for gaps and that you need to fill. It can be sort of mending a load of handmade garments that need repairing. It can be sort of pledging to wear one item of handmade clothing a day and see how you get on. It can be whatever you want, just to kind of make you think a bit more about your handmade wardrobe and make sure it's working well for you. And I really love joining in with the challenge, and the last couple of years I have pledged to wear an item of Me Made clothing a day, and for each week to try choosing an item by a different pattern company each day. And I've really enjoyed that challenge because it's made me pick out different garments in my wardrobe and not sort of stick to the same combination. So I think I'm going to do that again this year. So I might do some videos in May sharing what I've been wearing and the different pattern companies I've chosen on a daily basis. So I'd love it if you would tune in for those videos when they start next month. And then I've got my April Sewing Makes video coming out this Saturday as well. It might be a bit of a shorter one than some because I didn't do quite as much sewing in April as I have done in some months, but there's a few garments in there I'm looking forward to chatting through with you. So I'd love it if you join me for that one too. So I think that's everything that I've got to share in this video today. So thank you so much for joining me for another episode of my midweek sewing chat. It's really lovely to have you along. I really enjoy filming these chatty videos and sharing a bit of what I'm up to. And if you've enjoyed the video, as ever, I would love it if you give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel and you'd like to hear a bit more about my sewing projects and a bit more about my handmade wardrobe, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. And then if you press the bell icon, that means you'll be notified when I bring my future videos out. So I hopefully see you again on Saturday for my April Sewing Makes video. But until then, I hope you have a good week. And yes, see you again soon. Bye!